Be me. 27, Masters in Sociology, strong advocate for equality. I've read tons of feminist literature, believe women are still the default victims. I'm quite passionate about men and women dynamics, especially in relationships. I think these days this topic is becoming more and more relevant. It's why there's a population crisis too. I always reference stats about deadbeat dads and emotional abuse by men. Say things like, divorce is only hard on women because men abandon the family. My brother listens sometimes, never says anything. He's 34, married 7 years, 1 kid, a 5-year-old boy named Alex. Quiet, steady guy. Helps mom with errands without being asked. Always shows up early for family stuff. We call him boring. I tease him, say, you lucked out being a man. Courts always side with you. He just laughs, says, I hope I never have to find out. Fast forward 2 years. His wife starts acting weird. She's nice, but honestly, this is where there were a few signs that something wasn't right. Less family visits, stops posting him on socials, tells us she's just overwhelmed. Brother still brings flowers to mom on her birthday, still picks up nephew from daycare every Tuesday. Still boring. Then one day, she files for divorce. Should have seen it coming. Found her searching how to win custody as a woman on his laptop, when I borrowed it once to use a video editing software I didn't want to pay for. Asked him about it, he said it was for a friend. Once saw her watching TikToks of women explaining how to collect receipts. Heard her joke at dinner once, don't make me go full custody on you. We laughed. He didn't. Remember one dinner, she was mocking his job, called it safe little tech work, said, you could be earning double if you weren't so risk-averse. He didn't argue, just kept cutting Alex's food. She joked, he's more of a wife than I am. Her friends laughed. Mom tried to change the subject. Dad looked pissed. Nobody said anything. I laughed too. Thought she was just teasing. Now I know she meant every word. Started sleeping on the couch for space. Would say she needed time to find herself, but somehow kept posting on Instagram with new outfits and drinks. Apparently started telling her friends he was emotionally distant. But he still made her coffee every morning, still reminded her to take her vitamins. Says, he's distant. Claims he's emotionally unavailable. Starts hinting that he may have been verbally abusive. No proof, no police reports, just a word. Brother looks wrecked. Says, I didn't even see it coming. I think he's being dramatic. Was I supposed to press harder? He didn't cry or beg or anything. What else was I supposed to do? Men are supposed to handle pressure, right? Maybe I read that wrong. First court hearing. I tag along, more curious than concerned. He's a man. He'll be fine. He has a job, a record of care, no violence. The system will be fair, right? Her lawyer absolutely tortures him. Later found out she met with her lawyer months before filing. She once asked him to text his feelings instead of saying them. Said it helped her process better. He did it for months. Kept digital copies thinking it was helping them grow. Every one of those texts ended up in court. She printed them, highlighted words like upset, frustrated, don't know what to do, made it look like he was spiraling. Judge read excerpts like they were threats. Even included a message where he said, I'm exhausted. I just want peace. They framed it as a warning, said it showed emotional instability. He never saw it coming. She had already moved money out of the joint account, screenshotted random texts out of context, found a sticky note in her handwriting, said, stay calm in court, mention his temper. We never saw him angry, ever. But I remember her once saying, he shuts down when it matters. At the time, I thought she was just venting. Now I wonder if it was rehearsal. Saw her post online about surviving emotional detachment, timed right before court. Makes you look back at every silence differently. Makes you wonder what's real and what was curated. Twists a text he sent in 2021 into controlling behavior. Mentions that he once raised his voice in an argument. They bring up how he didn't go to couples therapy. Judge nods along. Our lawyer barely pushes back. He sits there frozen. I think, why doesn't he defend himself? But I say nothing. Second hearing. Judge rules she gets the house. She gets primary custody. He gets visitation as permitted and agreed upon. Has to pay child support, alimony, plus legal fees. Mom squeezes my hand. I whisper, it's okay. At least you still get to see Alex. He just stares ahead, doesn't answer. He moves into a tiny apartment, barely room for a bed and desk. Says it's just temporary. Once came over on a random Tuesday, found him building a cardboard spaceship with Alex in the living room. Markers everywhere, snacks half eaten. Alex had a tinfoil helmet. Brother looked up, face lit up like he forgot everything else existed. Said, "We're going to Saturn." Alex said, "Daddy's the captain." He said, "No, buddy, you are." Never saw him smile like that before. Never saw it again after. Ask how often he sees Alex now. He shrugs, eyes tired, says, "Depends how generous she's feeling that week." Tells me last time he asked, she said Alex had a busy weekend. Adds, "Sometimes I don't even know if he's sick or okay until Mom hears something on Facebook." Says, "I have to text before every visit, and sometimes she just says no." Shows me a screenshot, his message, "Hey, can I take Alex Saturday?" Her reply, "I'll let you know. Depends how he's feeling." He sighs, adds, "Court said she's primary, so she decides what's in his best interest." I say, "Can't you fight it?" He looks down, says, "With what money?" Mutters, "What's left to fight for when even asking makes me look unstable?" Starts working weekends to keep up with payments. Misses family dinners, texts less. Doesn't pick up calls sometimes. Mom asks if he's okay. I say, "He's just adjusting." Dad says, "He's not the same." I tell him he's being dramatic. Mom shrugs, says, "Men just don't talk." Brother shows up once with bags under his eyes, brings Alex a gift, says, "I missed you, buddy." X takes the toy, says, "We don't do plastic." He nods, doesn't argue. We all sit there, act like it's normal. Should I have said something? Isn't it her house? If he was really hurt, wouldn't he have pushed back? Or maybe he was just tired. I honestly thought he was fine. Mom whispers to me after dinner, says, "She's making it sound like we were all complicit." She looks around like the walls have ears, says, "I never wanted to say anything, but she'd correct Alex in front of him constantly." Adds, "I saw the way she looked at your brother, like he was furniture." Dad finally joins in, says, "I should have said something sooner." He stirs his coffee but doesn't drink it. Adds, "But we all thought she was just stressed." Says, "Never thought she'd paint him as the monster." Mom nods, says, "The worst part is, I think she believes it now too." I scroll my phone under the table. He just stares at his coffee, doesn't drink it. One day, he calls me, voice shaky, says, "Do you think I was a bad husband?" I laugh, say, "You just weren't emotionally expressive enough, probably." He pauses, says, "Okay, yeah, maybe." That's the last time we spoke. 2 days before he vanished, he texted me at 4 a.m. "I'm sorry I'm not enough." Never answered back. Deleted it because I didn't even know what to say. Like men need to deal with their feelings on their own, no? How are you supposed to respond to something like that? Like, am I his therapist? Was that even a cry for help, or just guilt tripping? Men say weird stuff when they're overwhelmed. That doesn't mean it's serious, right? While writing this, I'm getting flashbacks from one time I heard crying from his room, late at night, soft, like someone trying to hide it. I stopped at the door, almost knocked, but my brain said, "Guys don't cry unless they want attention." So I left. Never asked. Never checked in. Thought I was being progressive. Turns out I was just being blind. Weeks go by. He doesn't show up to Alex's birthday dinner. Mom says he must be working late. Next day, we get a welfare call from his job. Hasn't shown up in 3 days, won't answer texts. Mom panics, sends me to check on him, drive to his apartment. Nobody answers. Super lets me in. Room is quiet, bed is made, there's a note on the table, pill bottles on the counter, window cracked open. It's too quiet. He's gone. EMTs show up, officials confirm, suicide. Method not broadcasted, just substance related. Mom sobs. Dad goes outside and doesn't come back in for hours. I sit there. Don't cry, just stare at the old mug on the counter. World's okayest brother. No idea how to process this. He's always so quiet, it just didn't feel so out of the ordinary for him to suddenly not have life in him. Saw her post 3 weeks after his funeral, at some bar with good food and a smug face. What even? Caption said, "Survivor era unlocked." Comments full of hearts and, "You're so strong, babe." Someone asked about Alex. She replied, "He's doing better now without the chaos." Her display pic was updated. Her last name wasn't. Felt like erasing him was the only thing she kept consistent. Checked her Instagram the night he disappeared. No mention of divorce, no thinking of Alex posts, just vacation throwbacks, as if the life we knew never existed. Start going through his stuff. Open his iPad. Password is still Alex 2020. Find the Notes app. Hundreds of entries, short ones, long ones. Every title starts with a date and the word try again. Scroll through. January 3rd, tried to smile today at work. No one noticed. January 10th, bought a toy for Alex. She didn't let me give it. February 7th, watched a video of dads getting reunited. Couldn't stop crying. February 20th, thought about running away. Then remembered I can't leave him too. March 12th, called her. She said I was making her anxious. Each note, quieter, emptier. Last one reads, April 18th, if something happens to me, tell him I loved him. I tried so hard, I just wasn't enough. Close the app, hold the iPad to my chest. Never knew men wrote stuff like this. I read them out loud, feel like I'm eavesdropping on grief. His journal is on the desk, open to a folded page. Read it. I'm tired of pretending I'm okay. I'm tired of feeling like a criminal for wanting to be in my son's life. I miss him. I miss being a dad. I don't feel like a man anymore. I feel like a paycheck and a problem. Nobody sees me. They just see what they want to take. Close the book. Still no tears. Just a pit in my chest. Funeral is quiet. Mostly co-workers. His best friend James speaks, says, he was the most loyal guy I knew. Says, he once lent me money to stop my car from getting repoed. Another man speaks. We used to joke that divorce was death by paper cut. Everyone laughs, but not really. I sit with his friends after, ask why none of them said anything. James says, we all knew he was hurting. Says, but when you talk about it, people say you're bitter or toxic. James says, he broke down once after a bar run. Tells me he wasn't drunk, just tired. Says, he told me, I don't feel like I exist unless I'm paying for something. Says he'd pick up extra shifts, just so he could buy Alex a birthday gift. Adds, he'd ask me if I thought he looked desperate. I say, why didn't you tell us? James shrugs, says, I wanted to. I really did. Looks at me, says, but you talked like you already had it all figured out. Says, I didn't want to hear you say it was his fault too. That one stings, because he's right. Another guy says, you cry once, and your ex gets full custody. They all nod. Nobody's raising their voice. They just speak like this is normal, like this is how it always goes. Great aunt pulled me aside at the wake, quiet voice, shaky hands, said, we failed that boy. I said, no, he didn't speak up. She looked at me like I was 5, said, you don't always get to speak when you're drowning. Told me her own son hadn't seen his daughter in years. Said, the world lets women cry and calls it courage, lets men cry and calls it guilt. Walked away before I could respond. Asked James if he has kids. He says, not anymore. She moved to another state after court. I haven't seen them in 9 months. Says it without blinking. Says, you learn to go numb after a while. I go home, open all my old podcast episodes, hear myself ranting about men weaponizing the courts, talking about how lucky dads have it. Close the laptop, can't listen. Look at our group chat, tell the girls what happened. Say, my brother died, suicide, divorce hit him hard. One replies, wow, that's really sad, but we still can't forget the women who die at the hands of men too. Another says, this is why men need therapy, not sympathy. I don't respond. Leave the chat on read. Mom tries to host a dinner. Pull Mom aside. Say, why didn't we act sooner? She stares at her wine, tears trembling. Says, I thought you'd notice. I wanted you to notice. Realize we were all waiting for someone else. Leaves a chair open at the table. Nobody touches it, not even Alex. He just eats in silence, then asks, when's Dad coming back? Nobody answers. Later that night, I tuck him in. He holds a drawing, stick figure dad, big smile. I made this for him. Can we mail it? Say, we can try, sweetie. He frowns, says, Mom says Daddy's on a trip. I pause, don't know what to say. He asks, why didn't he say goodbye? Feel my throat close. Say, he wanted to. He just didn't know how. He falls asleep holding the drawing. I sit on the floor beside the bed. What would I even tell him? That we all stood there and watched his dad unravel? That I was too busy being right? Is it really my fault? I just believed what I was taught. Feel like a fraud, because I used to say dads don't care, because women usually take all the burden of raising kids, don't they? Months pass. I see a guy on Twitter venting about his ex keeping his kid. I almost reply with, maybe there's a reason. Then I stop. Read it again. Guy ends the thread with, I just miss my daughter, man. Realize they all just miss their kids. Start seeing it everywhere. Men in comment sections begging for help. Reaching out, getting ignored. Posting court docs, getting called losers, silent cries, buried in algorithms. Post a note online. My brother was a good man. He paid his dues, showed up for his son, got wrecked by a system that saw him as dangerous for being quiet. Nobody heard him until it was too late. I hear him now. Some girls unfollow, some DM me to argue. I don't respond, I just scroll. See another man post, just lost custody. No reason given. Just like my brother. Now I check on the men in my life, my dad, my cousins, even my exes. Some reply like nothing happened, some don't reply at all. Sometimes I sit in his old Honda Civic, stare at the dashboard, think about how he used to drive in silence. Always thought it was awkward. Somehow understand a bit more now. Find his last voicemail, weeks later. He was checking in. Just wanted to see how you were doing. Tell Mom I'm fine. Kept replaying it, over and over. Voice calm, too calm, like he already knew. Held the steering wheel, bit my hand, didn't want to cry, but couldn't stop. Not for him, for how late I was. My brother didn't want to die. He just didn't want to live like that anymore. I didn't understand then. Honestly, I still don't. But sometimes they don't all have it easy, I guess. Eventually, go to his old apartment to clean. On the wall is a calendar, every day marked with an X, except one, April 25th. Says, Alex's recital. He never made it, she never invited him, but he never forgot. Call the school, ask why he wasn't invited. Lady on the phone sounds confused, says, we only contact the custodial parent on file. I say, but he was his dad. He was still involved. She pauses, says, we never knew there was a father still involved. Says, we assumed he left. Hang up, can't breathe. Realize she erased him even there. But why didn't he make more noise? Why didn't he demand to be seen? Is it really all on us to notice the quiet ones? Maybe he just gave up too soon. Even the school thought he was gone before he really was. Do you remember what he said that day when we were joking around about him in divorce court? I hope I never have to find out. He meant what it's like to fight for your kid, as a man. He meant the system. It's as if we cursed him, the slow erasing. He did find out, and it broke him. Now I wish he never had to. He hoped I'd never find out how far men fall when no one watches.